Hey, this is Sam. Welcome to BNS About Movies. This week, a lot of junk. Let's start with the late, great Planet Earth from 1979.
Man is faced by unprecedented perils that threaten to send him crashing into the dark abyss of silence known as extinction.
Man stands on the brink of destruction. But could it be that man's ultimate fate has been known for over 2,000 years?
This was a false prophet some 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Why did they stone him?
Then as now, man believed himself too sophisticated for prophecies. But now prophetic patterns exist that cannot be ignored, cannot be forgotten. The late great Planet Earth, featuring Orson Welles. The incredible best-selling book by Hal Lindsey is now a motion picture that dares to explore the terrifying meanings of the ancient prophecies. Dares to face the chain of events predicting the end of our planet.
I'm speaking to you today from the last battlefield on planet Earth. It's out here that the last stages of history as we know it will be decided.
Let all the men of the war draw near. Let them come up. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision.
When the book of Revelation warned that 200 million men would decide the fate of our planet, is it only coincidence that Red China today has an army exactly that size? The prophecies speak of the coming of an Antichrist. Is he among us already?
Many people think that because this man's called the Antichrist that he'll appear to be evil. But Satan's no fool.
Is the computer his weapon? What is the prophetic clue to his identity?
Let him who hath understanding calculate the number of the beast. For the number is that of a man, and the number is 666.
The increasing frequency of earthquakes and floods, dramatic changes in weather patterns, all predicted centuries ago.
Scientists are now warning us of terrible dangers from outer space in 1982. In that year, Jupiter and all the other planets will be aligned on the same side of the sun.
The late great Planet Earth. It will take your mind further than it has ever dared to before. Is it all coincidence? Or has the final countdown begun?
Is our planet truly in mortal peril?
Have 70% of the key predictions fallen into place already?
Whether it's 5 minutes to midnight or whether it's 10 minutes to midnight is debatable.
What is it that gives us the idea that our time on Earth is infinite and without end?
See The Late Great Planet Earth, featuring Orson Welles. It may change your life forever.
Based on a best-selling 1970 book, released as the hippie occult generation's dreams flamed out at Altamont, annihilated on Sailor Drive, this was written by Hal Lindsey with Carol C. Carlson. It was adapted by Rolf Forsberg and Robert Amram, and it became the movie we're talking about. There's one thing you should know about tabloids of the 80s. The world was constantly going to end. One of my first tabloid memories was at a Shop and Save near Ross Park Mall when I was about 11. A man was cutting the UPC codes off of issues of the Enquirer near the Register, and I asked him what he was doing. He explained to me that he was removing the number of the beast and handed me a mimeographed explanation for security, drug him away. The world was on the constant brink of collapse, premillennial tension, and from an unhinged Catholic Church in Newcastle that was internally bent on communism, to finding copies of Jack Chick tracts that promised the end times were coming soon, I was certain Armageddon was happening before I get into middle school. The Late Great Planet Earth was the first Christian prophecy book to be published by secular publisher Bantam, and by 1990 it sold 28 million copies. On Wikipedia, they refer to the book as literalist, premillennial, dispensational eschatology. Literalist is a reading of the Bible that takes it literally and doesn't attempt to determine the meaning or symbolism. Premillennial is before 2000. That's when the world went crazy for a bit. This usually happens at the start of millenniums. Dispensational, this religious interpretive system and meta-narrative for the Bible, divides time into era, and eschatology is a division of theology that is devoted to discovering the end times. By studying passages in the books of Daniel, Ezekiel, and Revelation, Lindsey suggests that there are signs that Armageddon started when Israel was formed in 1948. Throw in an increase in war, famine, and natural disasters, and you can see why tabloids routinely featured doomsday predictions. Soon, the European Union will be ruled by the Antichrist and go to war with Russia over Israel. Just a matter of time. The beauty of this movie is it doesn't just feature interviews with authors like Tal Brook and Paul Ehrlich, or experts like Dr. Emile Benoit or Dr. Norman Borlaug. It has a witch in it named Babette, who explains why people are starting to believe in the occult, and even claims that most New Age gurus are part of the Bible's prophecy of false prophets.
Without belief, without religious faith, where can man turn for salvation?
The reason why more people are turning to witchcraft, or why it's so popular today, is because it's a close kin to metaphysics and the healing arts and much of the psychic phenomena that everyone experiences. And now we live in a more enlightened age, so people are beginning to deal with it. They're beginning to read about it and eventually use it.
And then it gets even better because Orson Welles lends his amazing voice to the film, making even the flimsiest of thoughts into concrete truths. Imagine a movie that infuses biblical ravings with the Mondo framework. Congratulations, this is that movie. If none of these revelations ever came true, that's fine. Lindsay will be back with a new book every few years, ready to explain to you that he wasn't wrong and what would be happening next. As for Orson, the money for this probably went right back into one of his many unfinished projects. We are enjoying what this movie is revealing. Lindsay and Carlson wrote several sequels, including Satan is Alive and Well on Planet Earth, and the 1980s Countdown to Armageddon. Today, he hosts a right-wing news report on the TBN network known as the Hal Lindsey Report. This actually came out from Scorpion Releasing on Blu-ray, probably out of print by now. Other great tabloid-style movie is Mysteries from Beyond Planet Earth from 1975.
We are ready to tap new resources. Telepathy, psychokinesis.
Here in a Czech laboratory, we are watching an experiment in telepathy. The subject is being placed in a deep hypnotic trance in order to free the unconscious to receive the message which will be relayed to him. Here in Leningrad, under strictest test conditions, talented, sensitive Nina Kulagina makes the magnetic needle of a compass rotate by sheer mind energy.
Bigfoot and black masses, UFOs and Atlantis.
The evidence is overwhelming that planet Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled extraterrestrial vehicles. In other words, some UFOs are somebody else's spacecraft.
What became of Atlantis? According to the records of Egyptian priests, in one cataclysmic day and night, the entire continent sank into the depths of the ocean.
These subjects all have one thing indisputably in common. People want to know more about them. To learn to forge new tools for mankind's future on Earth and beyond.
George Gale mostly worked as a post-production guy, but he also produced and directed two strange Fortean documentaries in the 70s, Mystery from Beyond Planet Earth and Are We Alone in the Universe? Narrated by character actor Lawrence Dobkin. This movie pretty much hits every single theory in 94 minutes. It's a whirlwind of info. Your host stays calm as we rush past every single theory anyone has ever had about basically anything. UFOs, Atlantis, Edgar Cayce talking about Atlantis. We got that. Planes getting lost in Bermuda Triangle? Sure. Telepathy, ESP, fire starters. I'm the fire starter. Curly and photography that captures auras and plants talking to people? Sure. Let's talk about it. But wait, do you also have time to talk about witchcraft and Satanism, including getting to see a black mass? Of course you do. And maybe let's talk about the Hollow Earth, Bigfoot, black holes, genetic engineering, clones, freezing people. Maybe we'll even get to aliens again. How much time do we have left on the clock? This is a movie that from its very tagline asked, what are the messages from beyond the stars, which have been kept secret from our world until now? Indeed, what is that message or messages? This one is brought to you by American National Enterprises, who also blessed us with the movies She, Iron Master, Endgame, Encounter with the Unknown, and many more. These guys had taste, none of it good, all of it amazing. That brings us to 1976's overlords of the UFO in the days before cable TV and streaming, which are filled with pretty much all paranormal content. Movies like this about UFOs were few and far between, and the commercials that advertised them were terrifying when I saw them as a kid. This is the one and only film directed by G. Brooke Stanford and written and produced by W. Gordon Allen, who also shows up as an expert in this. According to a website, the Kook Science Research Hatch, Allen was an American radio station owner and manager, film producer, author, and devoted Caesarian. Not a C-section, Saucerian, however you want to say it. He wrote the book Spacecraft from Beyond Three Dimensions all the way back in 1959, I followed that with 1966's Enigma Fantastique and 1974's Overlord and Olympians introduction to parapsycho psychics. Oh my gosh. I kind of love that when Arnold doesn't have photos or the budget to show a reenactment of a contact, there's a crude illustration that repeatedly gets panned across the screen. This movie is so similar to the magical Shikson classic formula of an Arthurian voice intoned dramatically as we learn about Betty and Barney Hill, Kenneth Arnold, and Travis Walton. There's also some ridiculous electronic music playing throughout this that brings me comfort and the joy that others get out of a warm milk or blanket. There are even stories of contact between Spance researchers and representatives of an alien race called the Ummo, the telepathic visions of dolphins, underwater UFOs, and the Therians, who were sending out androids to our timeline to stop mankind from inventing something. Obviously, they did it because we haven't seen any of them in a while. Sure, the Ummo story was a hoax, but you really get the feeling that, like so many modern docs, it's just out to make a buck, that this was Alan's true mission. He wanted people to know about the occupants of interplanetary craft, and if he had to make his own exploitation movie to get the word out, he was going to do the best job he could. The constant use of the phrase, who are the overlords of the UFO? Blaming cattle mutilations on invisible monsters. The disjointed feel of this, as if Alan had a stack of things he wanted to get through and had a day or two to make a movie, when the truth was he probably had years. The bad, Uri Geller, again, as always, showing up bending spoons, an obvious magic trick from a discredited con man who shows up in numerous paranormal documentaries. But that's not all. We have The Force Beyond from 1978.
I, in a real flying saucer, plunge beneath the ocean depths and see the real Atlantis. Travel the world and relive 1001 incredible unexplained encounters experienced by all those who now believe in The Force Beyond. See it and you'll believe in The Force Beyond. Look for this ad in your local newspaper.
And if you remember the Weekly World News, you're going to love this movie. It was launched 1 year after this movie came out by the National Enquirer as a means to keep using the black and white press that when the Enquirer went to color, they had left over. Unlike any other rags you get at the supermarket, the Weekly World News was unafraid to wildly speculate on aliens, monsters, Elvis, everything. It also introduced Batboy to the world and ceased publishing in 2007, but you can still get it online. The Force Beyond is like watching an issue of that tabloid without the smell of pulp or getting black ink all over your fingers. Producer Don Davison did it all. A yo-yo master, a professional magician, a producer for Film Ventures International, a huckster who voiced the pitch to buy how-to sex manuals and road shows, and he ran the Dragon Art Theater, all before he did voiceovers for The Crawling Thing and Creature of Evil. Now in this movie, he's our host, presenting the words of his wife, Barbara Morris Davison, who was also behind the movie Honey Britches. Guess what else this movie brought your way? William Sachs, who also directed The Incredible Mountain Man. Strap in. It's a nonstop deluge of info where things are just thrown at you. That's what these movies do. They just throw these things at you. Grown men trying to make your own UFOs. Yep. But I tell you about the barn and banger that suddenly disappeared. Let's get U of M grad Steve King on the phone. Meanwhile, the soundtrack, combination of Moog and chopped and screwed interpretations of Christian music years before anyone knew who DJ Screw was. My favorite part of this movie is voiced by Emperor Roscoe, the son of Hollywood mogul Joe Pasternak. Roscoe started his career in 1964 on Radio Caroline, a pirate radio station that broadcasts off the coast of Britain. Joined on the air by his pet bird Alfie, he would rap his American-style music intros. He's the inspiration for Philip Seymour Hoffman's character in Pirate Radio, and he sounds like a verifiable maniac in this movie. This is one of the most ridiculous films I've ever watched. A whiplash tour through everything from Casey to Bigfoot, Atlantis, and MUFON. It's a visual version of Open Calls back when Art Bell was still alive and people call from Area 51.
They're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51.
Or the Antichrist from Pittsburgh would call in and say, "What's the Rockies? You're now on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell."
Antichrist line, you're on the air. Hello.
Art,
Yes.
you called. You asked me to call. What do you need?
Do you claim to be the Antichrist?
Yeah.
Oh, then there's many questions that I have for you. First of all, how do you know that you are the Antichrist?
How dare you?
I love Art Bell. Mysteries of the Gods. How about that? In 1976, William Shatner was 7 years away from the end of Star Trek and 3 years from the theatrical movie.
I don't say sabotage. You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
So he's taking any work he could get. Movies like The 10th Level, A Whale of a Tale, and guest appearances on Barbary Coast. Oh yeah, Mysteries of the Gods. Let me tell you, the 70s, weird time to be alive. I was there. People had biofeedback machines in their plants. My mom did. Everybody was trying to get over Vietnam, Watergate, JFK. Aliens were everywhere. So how about Harold Raynal, who directed The Return of Dr. Mabuse and The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism, directed the German version of this film, the American parts, directed by Charles Vermeyen, who did Behind Locked Doors. This is based on the work of Eric von Daniken. If you don't know him, let me tell you, you're going to get more about him here. Ancient astronaut theorist, who now forms the basis of so many basic cable alien shows. Well, he himself is seen as a charlatan for some time. Shatner wears some astounding clothing here, some huge collars, often a bare chest like some lusty Doc Savage, flying over the world to interview old women about crystal skulls and debate with scientists. For that reason alone, this movie is worth a watch. Plus, there's plenty of synth, very short running time. A good start, just starting to get into the 20th century Carney paranormal docs. Shatner's 70s outfit's astounding. His outfit in Impulse, just several outfits, all magical. That leads us to the final one. We've been a whirlwind of aliens here. 1970s, Chariots of the Gods.
Are these really birds' heads, or do they just seem that way to the natives? They could also be helmets equipped with oxygen masks. Legend has it that in prehistoric times, flying people came to the island amidst fire. This is Makemake, the god of the island. And there he is, captured for the first time on film, the winged god of Palenque. What the lens sees is so stunning that we must examine the details separately. We see a man seated in a capsule, intently watching something. His hands seem to be operating some undefinable controls.
In the alternate world that was 1970, the German film Anrücken an die Zukunft, based on Chariots of the God, made $26 million. And at box office was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature. This movie starts off with discussing how native tribes found cargo from planes and began worshiping the flying machines as God, which is probably how our ancestors saw UFO folks that came down. That's what we want to know here. Harold Raynal again. Guy was in every popular German genre. Karl May Westerns, Edgar Wallace Crimini, mountain films, Heimat films, which are hometown rural movies, German war films, Commissar X movies. His life ended like a crimi as his wife, former actress Daniela Marla Delis, stabbed him to death in their retirement home. But let's get back to aliens, the kind that came down from the sky and turned cavemen into human beings. As Mondo stopped shocking people in the 70s, the final place we could go to get audiences to get crazy was these movies that declare the Nazca lines and crystal skulls and pyramids are not just examples of our ancestors' genius, but instead proof that aliens came to Earth, like the fallen angels from the lost books of the Bible that Glenn Danzig once talked about.
Here we go. This one's the lost books of the Bible. There's also the forgotten books of Eden, but the lost books of the Bible tells you a lot of stuff that they omitted from the Bible. All original chapters of the Bible which were excised. Let's see, there's a chapter in here. Yeah, here we go, infancy. This tells you about Jesus' childhood. The stuff that I guess most churches wouldn't want you to know about because it doesn't fit in with their ideology of Christ. And let me see. There's one passage in here where Jesus and a little kid are playing on the Sabbath, and Jesus is making these clay statues he's formed come to life. And the child says, it's a Sabbath, you shouldn't be doing that, and blah, 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 blah. And so anyway, Jesus kills the kid. And here we have another passage. Another time, when Lord Jesus was coming home in the evening with Joseph, he met a boy who ran so hard against him that he threw him down. To whom the Lord Jesus said, As thou hast thrown me down, so shalt thou fall, nor ever rise. And at that moment the boy fell down and died. Jesus. It's pretty funny.
There were so many versions of this movie. The same stuff from Chariots of the Gods Ancient Aliens has how many seasons taken from this?
Extraterrestrials, strange phenomena, missing persons, lost continents, myths, and monsters.
We examine these mysteries to determine, are they bullshit or not?
It's all bullshit. It's all magnificent bullshit. As a child, I used to get UFO candy and watch Battlestar Galactica. In the end of Battlestar Galactica, there's this warning about Project Blue Book and how we're not sure they're aliens. Every Sunday night, I could not sleep after I watched it. I thought, surely this is the night that I will be abducted. And jury's out if it ever happened. Anyways, this is BNS About Movies. This is Sam. Thanks for listening.